What if I told you Christianity is no longer the dominant force in parts of Europe? The decline of faith is not just a rumor, it's a reality, and the numbers are staggering. Is this the end of religious Europe as we know it? Today on Explore with Alan, we will explore 10 European countries where people are leaving Christianity in 2024. But before diving into list, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel as we put a lot of effort into researching, scripting, and editing these kinds of videos for you. Number 10 on our list, Iceland. Iceland, the land of fire and ice, has a population of about 376,000 people. Known for its stunning landscapes, Iceland has traditionally been a Christian country, with over 90% of the population identifying as Christian in the early 2000s. However, things have drastically changed. In 2010, around 80% of Icelanders identified as Christian, but by 2023, this number had dropped significantly, with only about 65% identifying as Christians today. A large part of the population has left Christianity, either becoming unaffiliated with any religion or converting to other faiths. What's surprising is the rapid growth of secularism. Many Icelanders now prefer to identify as atheists or agnostics. Interestingly, there's also been a rise in Icelanders embracing Old Norse paganism, also known as asatru, with about 1.5% of the population following it. At the same time, small communities of other faiths, such as Islam, have been growing. In fact, the Muslim population, though small, has steadily increased, now accounting for around 1% of the country. Why are people leaving Christianity in Iceland? Well, many experts point to the rise in secular values and a deep connection with nature over religious institutions. Also, the younger generation often feels disconnected from traditional Christian teachings. Additionally, Iceland's strong emphasis on personal freedom and human rights has contributed to a decline in formal religious affiliations. Iceland's shift from Christianity might surprise many, but it reflects the broader trend across Europe, where traditional religions are slowly losing influence. Let's dive deeper into the next country to see if the trend continues. Number 9 on our list, Norway. Norway, a country known for its breathtaking fjords and a strong welfare system, has seen significant religious changes over the past few decades. With a population of about 5.4 million, Norway used to be deeply rooted in Christianity, especially Lutheranism, with over 90% identifying as Christian in the 1950s. But today, only around 50% of Norwegians identify as Christians, showing a major decline. Between 2015 and 2023, the number of Norwegians leaving Christianity grew steadily, with a large portion of the population declaring themselves as atheists or agnostics. Interestingly, around 20% of the population now claim to be non-religious, according to recent surveys. This shift isn't just about abandoning faith. Many Norwegians have also embraced other belief systems. For example, the Islamic population in Norway has risen to about 5%, especially in urban areas like Oslo. Furthermore, secularism is promoted by the younger generation, who see religion as less relevant in modern society. The Norwegian Humanist Association, which supports secular values, has over 100,000 members today, showing just how much of the population has moved away from religious affiliations. A notable moment in this shift happened in 2012, when the Church of Norway was separated from the state, officially ending its status as the state religion. This monumental change signified the growing desire for separation between religion and government in the country. Celebrities like Morten Harket, the lead singer of the band a-ha, have openly discussed their break from traditional Christian views, adding to the trend of questioning organized religion. Norway's cultural shift from Christianity is another example of how even once deeply religious societies are evolving rapidly. But this isn't the end of the story. Let's see what's happening in Belgium. Number 8 on our list, Belgium. Belgium, home to beautiful medieval cities and a rich cultural heritage, has long been a Catholic stronghold. In the early 20th century, over 90% of Belgians identified as Roman Catholic. Today, that number has plummeted to around 40%, and only about 5% of Belgians regularly attend church services. This dramatic decline in religious affiliation can be traced back to several factors. For one, Belgium's liberal policies, especially around issues like abortion and same-sex marriage, have caused many to distance themselves from the Church's teachings. Additionally, the Catholic Church's handling of scandals, such as the sexual abuse cases that surfaced in the early 2000s, further eroded trust in the institution. Between 2010 and 2023, Belgium saw a sharp rise in the number of people identifying as irreligious, with about 30% of the population now claiming no religious affiliation. At the same time, Belgium has seen an increase in its Muslim population, particularly in cities like Brussels and Antwerp. Today, about 6% of Belgians are Muslim, reflecting the growing diversity in religious beliefs. In 2018, Belgian politician and former Christian Democrat Yves Leterme publicly criticized the decline of Christian values in Europe, noting that secularism was sweeping across the continent. This comment sparked controversy, but highlighted the shift happening not only in Belgium but across the region. The Belgian story shows how cultural and political factors can contribute to a shift away from traditional religion. But what about Germany? Let's take a look at how the situation is unfolding there. Number 7 on our list, Germany. Germany, a country with a complex history intertwined with Christianity, especially Protestantism, has seen a sharp decline in religious affiliation in recent years. In the 1950s, nearly 95% of Germans identified as either Catholic or Protestant. Today, less than 55% of the population identifies as Christian, with a notable number leaving the church every year. Between 2010 and 2023, Germany saw over 2 million people officially leave Christianity, with many filing formal requests to stop paying the church tax that supports religious institutions. The church tax, required by both the Protestant and Catholic churches, has become a point of contention, especially among younger Germans who feel disconnected from religion. Meanwhile, the Muslim population in Germany has grown, now making up about 6% of the population, and Buddhism is also on the rise. Many Germans have embraced secularism, with over 30% of the population now identifying as unaffiliated with any religion. This shift is especially pronounced in the former East Germany, where decades of atheism under communist rule have left a lasting impact. In fact, some areas of East Germany have some of the lowest rates of religious belief in the world. Interestingly, former German Chancellor Angela Merkel, the daughter of a Protestant pastor, often spoke about her Christian values but acknowledged the growing secularism in Germany. Her speeches sometimes sparked debate about the role of Christianity in modern Germany. Germany's move away from Christianity is driven by multiple factors, including dissatisfaction with the institutional church and the rise of secular values. This trend is something we're seeing across Europe, and Germany is a prime example of how rapidly things are changing. Number 6, the Netherlands. The Netherlands, widely known for its picturesque canals, tulip fields, and windmills, is also recognized as one of the most liberal and secular nations in Europe. With a population of approximately 17.5 million, this small yet influential country has witnessed a major shift in religious affiliation over the past few decades. In the 1950s, nearly 80% of the Dutch population identified as Christian, primarily Protestant or Catholic. Fast forward to today, and less than 45% of the population identifies as Christian. This drop is even more pronounced among the younger generations. In fact, over 55% of Dutch people under the age of 30 describe themselves as either non-religious or atheist. One of the most telling signs of this decline is the closure of churches across the country. More than 1,000 churches have been repurposed or abandoned since 2000. In recent years, many have left Christianity and turned towards secularism or alternative spiritual practices. Meanwhile, the Muslim population has grown to about 5%, primarily due to immigration from countries like Turkey and Morocco. This has also led to a significant rise in the number of mosques, particularly in cities like Amsterdam and Rotterdam. An iconic figure in this religious shift is Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, who has often spoken publicly about her Catholic upbringing and how religion plays a less prominent role in Dutch society today. The Netherlands is a clear example of how secularism and religious diversity are taking hold in European countries once considered strongholds of Christianity. Number 5, the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom, once the heart of the Anglican Church, has seen a sharp decline in Christian affiliation over the past few decades. With a population of over 67 million, this country has become one of the most religiously diverse in Europe. Historically, more than 85% of the population identified as Christian in the early 20th century, but by 2023, that number had dropped to just under 45%. A staggering trend in the UK is the rise of secularism. Approximately 40% of Britons now identify as having no religion, according to the Office for National Statistics. This shift has been most notable in England and Wales, where the Church of England has traditionally held sway. Between 2010 and 2022, over 5 million people left the Anglican Church, with many citing scandals, a lack of relevance, and dissatisfaction with the church's stance on social issues. Meanwhile, the Muslim population has grown to about 6.5%, particularly in cities like London, Birmingham, and Manchester. Immigration from former colonies and countries like Pakistan and Bangladesh has played a key role in this demographic shift. One well-known figure who contributed to the public discourse around religion in the UK, Stephen Fry, a famous actor and writer. Fry, who identifies as an atheist, has been outspoken about his views on religion, drawing attention to the growing secular movement in the country. The UK is an excellent example of how multiculturalism and secularism are reshaping societies across Europe, with religion playing a less central role in people's lives. Number 4, France. France, renowned for its art, cuisine, and revolutionary history, is also a country where religion, particularly Christianity, has seen a steep decline in recent years. With a population of around 67 million, France has long been a predominantly Catholic nation. In the early 20th century, over 90% of the population identified as Catholic. Today, fewer than 30% of French people identify as practicing Catholics, and only about 5% regularly attend church. France's transition towards secularism, or laicide, is deeply embedded in its national identity. The concept of separating religion from public life dates back to the French Revolution, but the trend has accelerated in recent decades. In 2020, for the first time in its history, the number of French people identifying as non-religious overtook those identifying as Catholic. Today, about 50% of the population identifies as irreligious, a figure that continues to rise. However, Islam is the second largest religion in France, with about 9% of the population identifying as Muslim, making it one of the highest percentages in Western Europe. This demographic shift has sparked debates about religious expression, particularly with regard to wearing religious symbols, such as the hijab, in public spaces. French celebrities like Marion Cotillard have commented on the growing secularism in France, often highlighting how religion plays a smaller role in the lives of modern French citizens. The country remains a fascinating example of how traditional religious institutions are being replaced by secular and diverse cultural identities. Number 3. Sweden. Sweden, with its stunning landscapes, midnight sun, and innovation-driven economy, has long been seen as a model of modernity and secularism. With a population of just over 10.5 million, this Nordic country has seen a dramatic decline in religious affiliation. In the mid-20th century, nearly 95% of Swedes belonged to the Church of Sweden, a Lutheran denomination. However, in 2023, less than 55% of the population remains affiliated with the church, and only about 2% attend services regularly. A striking example of Sweden's secular shift is the fact that religious weddings, baptisms, and confirmations have dropped significantly in favor of civil ceremonies. Sweden has long been a trailblazer for human rights and secular policies, which may explain why many Swedes, especially the younger generations, view religion as a private matter. The country also has one of the highest rates of atheism in the world. Over 50% of Swedes identify as non-religious or atheist. This trend has led to the closure of numerous churches, many of which are now being repurposed as community centers, museums, or even private homes. One fascinating figure in this shift is former Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme, who, although from a Christian background, was known for promoting secularism and progressive policies during his leadership in the 1970s and early 80s. Sweden remains a leading example of how secularism can flourish in a traditionally Christian nation, where diversity and inclusivity are celebrated as part of the national identity. Number 2. Estonia. Estonia, with its cutting-edge digital advancements and medieval charm, stands out not only for its tech-savvy reputation, but also for being one of the least religious countries in the world. With a population of about 1.3 million, Estonia's shift away from religion is among the sharpest in Europe. Historically, Estonia was predominantly Lutheran, but today, less than 30% of the population identifies as Christian. What's even more telling is that over 70% of Estonians identify as non-religious or atheist, placing Estonia among the most secular countries globally. The rapid decline in religious affiliation can be traced back to the Soviet era, when religion was actively discouraged. Since regaining independence in 1991, Estonia has continued down this path of secularism. Interestingly, Estonia has become a hub for digital innovation and e-governance, with its modern society seemingly preferring rationalism and technology over traditional religious beliefs. Tallinn, the capital city, is home to several state-of-the-art tech companies, and the country is often referred to as the Silicon Valley of Europe. Despite the decline in Christianity, there has been a growing interest in spirituality and alternative practices in Estonia. Some Estonians have turned to nature-based paganism, which has roots in ancient traditions. A noteworthy figure in this context is Estonian President Kersti Kaljulaid, the first female head of state, who has often spoken about Estonia's progressive values in secular society. Estonia's success in blending modernity with its rich historical culture makes it a fascinating case study in Europe's ongoing religious transformation. Number 1 on our list, the Czech Republic. Finally, top on our list, we have the Czech Republic, known for its beautiful medieval architecture, thriving beer culture, and vibrant art scene. This Central European country is not only a popular tourist destination, but also one of the most irreligious nations in the world. With a population of approximately 10.7 million, the Czech Republic has undergone one of the fastest declines in Christian affiliation in Europe. In the 1990s, around 40% of the population identified as Christian, mostly Catholic. However, by 2023, that figure had dropped to around 20%, and over 60% of sects now describe themselves as atheist or agnostic. Prague, the capital, is an excellent example of this secular trend. Once filled with Catholic churches, the city has seen a significant drop in church attendance, and many historical churches are now used for concerts, exhibitions, and other secular events. Interestingly, the Czech Republic's decline in religious affiliation has been accompanied by an increase in secular festivals and community activities. Some historians attribute this shift to the country's experience under communist rule, which discouraged religious practice, while others point to the Czechs' long history of skepticism towards authority, including religious institutions. One influential figure in this shift is Václav Havel, the playwright and former president of the Czech Republic. Although raised in a Christian family, Havel was a vocal supporter of secularism and human rights, often advocating for freedom of belief, whether religious or secular. Today, the Czech Republic represents one of the clearest examples of a nation where traditional religious institutions have lost their influence and secularism has taken root as a core aspect of modern life. Now, if you think these stats were shocking, wait until you click on the video that's showing up on your screen right now. It covers 10 Muslim countries where people are becoming Christians. And trust me, the numbers in that video will absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about a transformation that no one saw coming, with stories of faith, struggle, and unbelievable change. That video digs deep into places you'd never expect, showcasing real-life examples that will leave you speechless. Don't miss out. This is one video you absolutely need to watch to get the full picture. So click on it now, and let's uncover some truly mind-blowing facts together. You won't regret it.